What's up, YouTube? This is BoxingWave. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Let's go over the fight this weekend. Biggest fight of the weekend, Berchelt against Valdez. A lot of us was wrong. But a good amount of you guys was right. You know, I did do a live commentary for the fight. Shout out to everyone that was here on Saturday night. 3 cards. You know, I did the Josh Kelly fight, and I covered this in the Adrian Broner fight. But shout out to everyone that was here. We had a good time. And another knockout of the year candidate. This fight, I mean, earlier in the year, but it's going to be really, really hard to beat that knockout right there. That knockout was crazy. You know, wasn't expecting it. But when we did predictions, I seen a few people, and I think one of you actually called a 10th round knockout of Berchelt. One of you guys did, but a few of you had it pretty on point. The most of us, even the boxing experts and the analysts, had Berchelt winning this, including myself. All right, I thought Berchelt was actually going to win it within 7. All right, so I totally knew it was going to be a great fight leading up to the knockout, but it didn't go my way. In fact, Oscar Valdez looked. This was the best performance, obviously, of his career, but I haven't seen him box that well in a long time. And I said that in the prediction videos that I did, just doing the predictions for all of the fights this weekend. I haven't seen Oscar Valdez fight that good since he was pretty much a prospect leading into a contender at 126. That was the best performance I've seen him in. You know, and you have to give much credit to Eddie Reynoso, who's proven to be a elite trainer at this point. I mean, this kid went back to boxing, slipping shots, displaying good defense, good foot movement. I think the first 2 rounds were probably Berchelt's most decent rounds out of the fight, but I believe Valdez kind of took away his jab with the counters. And once that happened, it was pretty much over, because I don't know what Berchelt's game plan was. I figured he was going to use his height and reach advantage, all right, and keep Valdez on the end of his jab, and he was trying to. But Valdez was doing a good job getting in low, okay, feinting, in just his footwork, you know, putting pressure without really throwing many punches. I see that a lot with Canelo. Canelo would just put himself in position to throw something and land, but he wouldn't throw at times. And I've seen that with many fights where he's pressuring you without actually hitting you and throwing anything, just to see if he can get in position. At least that's what I observed when I was watching this fight. And at some point, Valdez started to annihilate Berchelt with his jab. That was the first thing. The jab was just popping his head. You guys were here on the live commentary. He was just continuously popping Berchelt's head back at will. It seemed like every jab he threw landed, and he definitely exposed Berchelt's defense. And Berchelt, you know, after the 2 knockdowns, the early knockdowns, and that round, I don't know what round it was. I mean, it might have been the 4th round, maybe. This guy had the noodle legs for a good minute of that round. You know, even the next round, he was still a little out of it. But he recovered, you know, that following round. He did eventually recover. And at some point, Valdez slowed down. Okay, and I don't know if he was doing that on purpose. I don't know if he was legit tired. He did seem gassed, and he was running for a good few rounds where Berchelt came back and started taking charge. Valdez was still landing some jabs and some good shots here and there, but Berchelt was in control for a few rounds, somewhere in the mid to later rounds, okay? And then Valdez caught his second win. He started countering again with big shots. He was just slipping and moving, and excellent defense. Excellent defense. Excellent counterpunching timing. and he made Berchelt look regular, and I think someone in the comments asked me, was Berchelt overrated at all this time? And I really don't think so. I really don't think, because he lost his fight the way that he did. I think his defense was exposed a little bit because now he's fighting. I don't want to say he's fighting a top level fighter, because I think preparation is what got Valdez to win. If he was fighting the same way he fought Scott Quigg, it might have had a different outcome here. It was just more about preparation and training, and I think he just had a great game plan, and he went back to boxing. I think Andre Ward said something like that. He's like, this is a fight that he had to box to win, and he reminded us of how good of a boxer he is, because I haven't seen that in a while. He's become this brawler, excellent win. But as far as Berchelt being overrated, you find Miura, Miguel Roman, Francisco Vargas, and beating all of these guys. These guys had wins over each other, went to war with each other, but Berchelt beat them all. And I'm not saying, no, he's not unified. He isn't unified. Yes, there's other top fighters out there. You got Joseph Diaz Jr., you got Tevin Farmer. He didn't face Jamel Herring. But I would think he would beat the majority of these guys. And listen, I don't want to call him overrated. I just think he got outboxed and beaten by a better fighter. A fighter that, again, he proved at one point he was this good to me. And once he became more of a brawler, I kind of I don't know if he's going to take it, because his defense has been suspect in these last few fights, and he can't be taking those punches from Berchelt like that. But when a fighter can go back to boxing like that and being defensive like that, now it makes me feel like, oh man, I think Valdez can beat Frampton. I think he can beat Jamel Herring. I think he can even beat Tevin Farmer and Joseph Diaz based on that performance. That win right there was the most impressive win I've seen at 130 in a long time. I mean, we know that Tank recently knocked out Leo Santa Cruz, and that was a great win. I'm not taking anything away from that knockout, but Leo didn't really prove himself at 126. He won titles at a few different divisions, and that was cool. But he never unified or anything like that. He did beat some good fighters at 126 and stuff. I'm not taking anything away from him, but that win that we saw the other night was the most impressive win at 130 in a while. Okay, to outbox someone like that and then get the knockout, and a knockout of the year type knockout, like, that was crazy. He did everything right, except for taking a few rounds off. But Valdez showed that he can box and knock you out. Beautiful, beautiful boxing. I read the article of Shakur Stevenson running over to Bob Arum after the fight, like, yo, I want to fight him next. And this is why I love Shakur, because he is targeting the best. He's not acting like these divas up at 135. He's going straight at these top guys. And I feel bad for him, too, because he wants to fight the winner of Frampton and Jamel Herring. And he's due for that. He is the WBO champion that moved up from 126 to now at 130. He wants his title shot with the WBO. But this fight just keeps getting delayed. It's delayed again. These guys were supposed to fight soon, this weekend. And Frampton injured his hand, and now we got to get delayed again. Like, this is like the third delay for this fight, And I think Valdez and Berchelt was a more competitive fight. That's just my opinion. I respect Frampton and what he's done in 122 and 126, especially at 122. And I respect what Jamel Herring has done too. He's a good fighter. but Berchelt and Valdez was definitely the more competitive fight to me. And I think Valdez beats them both. And I still believe that Berchelt beats them both. This is why I don't want to just make it seem like he's nothing now because he lost that fight. Because I think Berchelt beats Jamel Herring. I think he beats Carl Frampton at 130. You know, and now that Valdez outboxed him and knocked him out, I see him beating them. So I don't know what's going to happen next, you know, because Shakur is the #1 for both the WBO and the WBC now. All right, so I don't know how that's going to play out. I mean, they are all top-ranked fighters, so fights should be made. I want Shakur Stevenson to get his shot and his opportunity, but I understand that if these guys decide to unify, which is very possible, then he might have to sit out again, you know. But he needs to get his shot. He needs to get his shot. And if he doesn't get his shot in the very next fight, the winner of Frampton and Jamel Herring, I'm sure he's going to get his shot, whoever wins the winner of this unified match. So we'll see how it all plays out. We don't know. I know Shakur is the absolute mandatory, so I see him probably getting a fight before we get a unified fight. But either way is cool. It's cool with me because I love unified. I want unified for sure. But I do believe Shakur is the better of the two. I think the Valdez fight is is a bigger fight for Shakur. You know, as far as his boxing talk, having the debates of who's going to win that fight. I can't wait to start having a debate on who wins between Shakur Stevenson and Valdez after that performance. You know, because a lot of us think highly of Shakur, but he is very unproven. We just think highly of him based on what we've seen from him. But now Valdez beating a guy like that in that fashion, now it brings up a new topic like, yo, can Shakur really beat him now? You know what I'm saying? Because Valdez is actually proven. All right. But as far as Jamel Herring and Frampton, much respect to them. But I don't see them neither one of them beating Valdez, and I don't see neither one of them beating Shakur Stevenson. I just don't see it. All right. But we'll see what happens, man. And as far as Joseph Diaz, he just got stripped because he missed weight. So that title is pretty much vacant right now. I don't know how that's going to work out. I don't know if the first #1 and #2 guys are going to fight for that title. I don't know if Tevin Foreman is going to get a crack at that title. I have no idea how that's going to go. And as far as Tank Davis, I just don't see Tank really unifying with anyone. You know, he's like this superstar, and he's just fighting guys that's moving up from 126 on the PBC end. He's not with top rank, so I really don't see him fighting any of these guys. I don't see him fighting Valdez. I don't see him fighting Stevenson. I don't see him fighting Berchelt or Herring or any of these guys. I don't see him doing it. You know, it is what it is. You know. So anyway, great win for Valdez. Definitely much more impressive. Even like when we look at Ryan Garcia and the hype behind him being Luke Campbell, this was a much more impressive win. Valdez being Berchelt was a much more impressive win than Ryan being Luke Campbell. You know, Luke is good, and that was a great win. But Luke dropped him, and Luke didn't. He wasn't a top. He didn't have a big name under his record. You know, I think Berchelt at 130 had a way better resume, and plus he was a champion at 130. Valdez going up to his division and knocking him out and thoroughly outboxing him is a much more impressive win than Ryan Garcia's win over Luke Campbell. You know, but I know it's about name and stardom and Instagram followers and all of that stuff. I was very impressed with this. This is definitely the most impressive win of the year so far to me. All right. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, man. And I'll be back with more heat soon. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe. Peace.